Hello, friends of software entertainment, and a warm welcome to Contributing Open Source. Today, with spectacular guest Marco from Italy and the Node project. I have here two guests with Marco and Daniel. And Marco, please introduce yourself.
Sure. Thank you for having me. My name is Marco Ippolito. I'm a Node.js core contributor. I work mostly on Node.js security and release, and also do some security triaging on projects like Express and Fastify.
Yes, thank you. And Daniel.
Yeah, hi, I'm Daniel. I'm a software engineer, and I mostly work on the web in my day job and doing applications. And in my spare time, I also do some low-level development and have some security backgrounds as well. So yeah, I'm very excited and looking forward to what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, so today we will check out the release notes from Node. So I will share your screen, Marco, and yeah, please introduce why we all should update our system and what important things happened.
Sure. So this is a huge milestone for the Node.js project. Version 22 is a very big upgrade. We released it 2 days ago, and I helped with the release. It's very important because this is going to be promoted to LTS in October. So right now it's still current. It's still not considered LTS, but it will be in 6 months. And this release ships some very, very cool features. Most importantly, there is the V8 update. So now you have the latest JavaScript features. And something that is overlooked is WebAssembly garbage collection. I mean, this is a game changer for all these dependencies that use WebAssembly. We have a lot of new JavaScript, like a new JavaScript functions. We have maglev, which is another V8 compiler. It's very cool. We finally have behind the flag. There is compatibility between the CommonJS syntax, which is the old Node.js require syntax, and the ESM syntax, which is the import-export, if you're not familiar. And now there is full compatibility with this new flag, so this is crazy important for Node. We have also watch mode. Like if you're used to Nodemon, it's a very popular library for hot reloading. We have now by default we have improved the streams default high watermark, so the streams are going to use a bit more memory, but they're going to be much faster. Yeah, we have a new WebSocket client. We have a lot of performance improvements. Most importantly, we also have a lot of deprecations. I personally have deprecated at least 20 APIs that were used in the past. So to improve a bit, to remove some dead code from the project. Yeah, so I'm very excited for this release.
Okay, thank you for the overview. Sometimes I see in the PHP world, there was also a release from 7 to 8, and yeah, not many people go this update way. How hard it is to use this new update, and are there any migration tools or help to make this easier?
Not really. This is usually Node.js releases, major releases are one per year. So if you always up to date, it shouldn't break too many things. It's not like a major change. It's not like Python 2 and 3. There are some minimal changes, but it should be painless, the migration. Yeah.
Okay, Daniel, do you have any questions about new features or what maybe you missed in the past and now is there? What do you think about this hot reload watcher?
It's quite interesting. I especially appreciate the garbage collection feature now. So I myself have been doing quite a bunch of stuff with WebAssembly actually. That was mostly like, small things, like, parsing binary data and stuff like that. And but I've mostly used it in web browsers. Now I was always curious about, its behavior in Node.js. I mean, it would be fairly similar, I would assume. So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying things out. And what I see in WebAssembly in general is like a, great boost in terms of portability, right? So we have a bunch of things that are currently still like on NPM where, you have platform specific binaries and everything is a bit here and there and different and stuff. Sometimes, you even get like, I don't know, binaries downloaded later and so on. So this year could improve all of that significantly, especially with the garbage collection. So yeah, that is definitely a very, very exciting thing to hear. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah.
So sometimes management and clients just see in new version numbers our geek DNA, and they say, "Hey, everything is working fine with this number. Why do we need this number?" And we need to get some arguments to the clients to force this update. Maybe security related topic where we go in the further sessions to is one big thing. But what do you think, Marco? Should I tell my clients to update this thing? What do they want to hear?
So I think this release is very important for performance. As you can see, there is a new V8 version that brings a new JavaScript compiler. This improves performance by a lot for CLI programs. So if you want to get very technical into this, I would love to. Right now, there are two compilers in V8. There is Turbofan and Sparkplug. This is the third one, so V8 has three just-in-time compilers. One is for, let's say, cold path. Turbofan is for very hot path. So it takes some more time to compile code, but produces a very refined machine code. This is something in between, and this closes the gap. So now you have like maximum performance always in JavaScript. And I think this is very, very, very cool and helps a lot. So tell your client that, hey, this is going to make your AWS builds much lighter, and you're going to have a new JavaScript features, so a lot less code. Yeah, a lot of less dependencies, because it's not in the release note because a lot of stuff has been released in 21.7, but we released stuff like .env. So we have a .env parser inside Node.js. We have now we have the watch mode, so you don't need NodeMon. We have removed a lot of the need for a lot of dependencies, and so the supply chain is going to be much better because you have less dependencies in your tree, so less surface for attacks. And I think this is something great.
Cool, Daniel. What would you like to see?
Yeah, so I would be curious if you actually have some like statistics where you can show like the performance before and after. That might be interesting, or if you can like, I don't know, give some examples maybe. I'm thinking of tools we're using in our daily business as web developers, like ESLint, for example, which you run both in our IDEs but also on CI servers. So I assume that would save us some seconds here and there. Like especially with larger projects, it can take quite a while actually to just lint a bunch of files. Let's say, I don't know, 100 files or something is already significant, right? So like including the parsing of all your configurations that are being folded together and all that stuff. So yeah, that would be very interesting to hear if that is significantly changing.
So benchmarks are mostly on the V8 page. If we go into the V8 blog post here, we can see how. Let's go to the benchmarks. we can see how the speed has a big improvement into performance. So this is more a overall JavaScript boost given by the V8 update. As Node.js project, we don't benchmark like V8 improvement, but we also have on the Node.js side, we have some performance improvement of a board signal. We don't we take benchmarking very seriously, so we don't put numbers unless we believe that those numbers are accurate. So you will not find percentages in the blog post. But realistically, I would say that there is a quite good performance boost also on the test runner. So if you use the native Node.js test runner for testing your application, this gives quite a big boost. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That is awesome.
Okay, Marco, what thing is your most like or your hardest feature that you want to say this is super cool and I tested it and this is the thing what makes me smile?
Yeah. So in terms of this release, one thing that I haven't mentioned yet is that now you can run from scripts from the package JSON without npm. So there is this cool new feature called node run. So you can run your test. You can run node --run test without needing npm to execute scripts in the package JSON. So the fun fact is that when we install a Node.js application, maybe we run on Docker, we start the application using an npm command like npm start, npm whatever. But that has a bit of overhead because of npm itself, while you can just call node and execute the node command without passing through npm. And now you can just do it without npm. So you run node --run test or --run start, and it will execute the command inside the package JSON without the overhead caused by npm. So, and you can also build Node.js itself, but without npm at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, this sounds good. Yeah, I think this makes a lot of things also for the pipelines easier and faster. Or Daniel, what do you think?
Yeah, it might. Would assume that it also takes a while for people to adopt this. So there is like like on GitHub, for example, where you have the marketplace with the pre-built actions, right? So people would usually just take in those actions. If those actions are being updated to just run Node directly, that would give us a double boost now, actually, right? So with a improved performance by itself and also this shortcut here.
Yeah,
could be very interesting.
I mean, this is obviously this is much simpler than npm because npm does a lot of things. So this doesn't substitute npm at all. But for minimal use case, and like this is very good because it takes away slowly. We're trying to improve performance. We're trying to improve the developer experience. So there has been an insane amount of work in the past, I would say, 2 years in terms of performance and developer experience improvement. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Thank you.
So one of the other topics that I wanted to talk about today, other than the
By the way, I'm not this. I do a lot with things with JavaScript, but I think every time when I use npm, some people say use ban or something like this. There are two different kind of libraries, and so maybe this kind of religion war will end when we all use it from Node directly, and we don't need these things anymore. Or do we need it also, and we just can run some more core functions like testing directly with Node.
So this node run feature does not substitute npm. So if you want to install dependencies, you still need a package manager like npm, pnpm, bun, or whatever package managers are out there, yarn. There are so many package managers. This is specifically to run package.json scripts. If you don't need setting variables, setting environment variables, or doing very complex stuff, this is extremely good because it's much faster. Imagine, like it doesn't sound a lot when you first think, okay, why, if I run a command, why do I care if it takes 200 milliseconds more or less? If you think about this, that when you run a nested command inside the package.json, you start to remove a second from the startup of an application if you run 4 or 5 commands. And imagine this being used in an application where spawning new processes is important. You have 1 second less, and it's huge. So this is the use case for this feature. It does not replace package manager.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. What I would like to talk today, other than the Node.js 22, is that we have been doing a lot of work to improve the overall security of the Node.js project. And we started in 2023, and now we have a bunch of security initiatives for 2024. So how does Node.js handle organized work? We have working groups. So we have working groups and teams. So there is security working group in Node.js that takes care of the security governance of the project. In 2023, we started to get very serious about it, and we could define the threat model. We started to make sure that we follow best practices, OpenSSF scorecard. We started to monitor what's going on, like how many pull requests get accepted, would get merged with, I don't know, like few approvals. Like we started to set up a process to make sure that the project itself stayed secure. I personally worked on some stuff like dependency update, automation. It's crazy to think about it, but for 12 years of Node.js life, there was someone who would manually update dependencies. Every day, every time there was a new dependency, someone would Google it, find the package, download it, update it, and we have automated this. We have done some great things. So, and we're also starting to work on 2024 and on this issue. You can read some of the things that we will be working on for this year.
Yeah, very good. In auto updating, I always think about the renovated bot. Yes, I don't know if you know this project. Yes. I think you implement a custom function to do this, or is it something from the Node project or from the infrastructure around it?
It's all GitHub actions that run weekly to check upstream if there is a new package, and they're all bash script that do the update. So it's all custom and handmade.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Auto updating. I think this is a very good thing. I'm working a lot of automate testing and auto updating, and I think this is a big USP. How do you manage your updates, Daniel?
Yeah, so we have Node.js has a bunch of dependencies inside. We have V8, we have OpenSSL, we have a lot of key dependencies. So for us, it's very important that we always we always stay up to date. So this helped a lot. But we also did some other important. We have a policy mechanism. It's experimental for code integrity. We have a permission model, so you can give the Node.js process permission to access a network, to access file system, to limit possible malicious code running on your application. Yeah, we have like all of this has been done in 2023 and has been huge for the project. And now in 2024, we want to continue all of this. We want to improve the permission model. We want to, I'm personally working on the security release automation. So because releasing is a big part of Node.js and it's very painful. And we also have SBOM. That's it's a very hot topic lately. Yeah, so lots of stuff.
Many stuff, many words, many. How was the name of the last thing? Do I?
SBOM.
Okay.
SBOM, like software bill of materials, for those who don't know the acronym yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel, do you have any questions to Marco about some of the last topics?
Indeed, I do. So let's maybe briefly talk about the SBOM features. So there's a bunch of projects doing SBOM, right? So there's like CycloneDX, there's SPDX, and so on. Could you just give us some brief details, like what you looked at, what you chose, and what you're going with now?
So we decided to go with CycloneDX, and as a tool for the generation, we chose to go with CDX Gen. It's a very cool tool that helps with the generation of SBOM. To be honest, we considered differences between SPDX and CycloneDX, and we just found that CycloneDX was easier to get started with, and it's a bit lighter. Also because we are software developers, we are engineers that work with JavaScript and C++. We are not all like security experts, people that work on this kind of tooling specifically. We are developers that want to help with security. So for us, it was very important, something that gave us a good developer experience, something that was easy to implement without knowing all the everything about SBOMs, all the small details. And we found that CycloneDX was also because it at the time when we took the decision, it was getting the TC54 was just created and it was getting ISO standardized. So we went for it.
Awesome. I'm also curious what the response was from the consumers of Node.js. Like, I would assume that some people actually also asked for SBOM at some point when they heard, hey, the US government did this bill here. So, what were people's reactions?
So, what we decided to do at the beginning is to not release the SBOM. The main idea is that at the beginning we want to use the SBOM for internal usage. So we want it as a tool to keep track of our dependencies, like dependency versioning, because we have a lot of dependencies. They are very complex, and it's being a C++ project doesn't have a package manager. So we wanted to achieve that goal. We're still work in progress, and I don't know if we will ever be able to release an SBOM that is accurate enough for our consumers. So what we have noticed is that right now, people who are very interested in security, they generate their SBOM themselves. So they download the project and do the build themselves, generate the SBOM themselves. They don't use the like if they really care about security, they take care of it themselves. Also, one of the biggest problems that we have found is that the dependencies that we use do not provide an SBOM. So doing static analysis on V8 is extremely expensive and extremely time consuming, not to talk about OpenSSL and all of the others big dependencies. So we we probably don't want to get too deep into SBOM.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's switch gears maybe a bit. I'm also curious about the permission model, right? So it's sort of a capability sort of thing, right? So you can start the process and say, well, whatever is running now, they get network access, but no file system access, for example, right? So you can do stuff like that. Is there like I don't know, some website we can look at of like, people are actually using that stuff? Is there like any public record of, how people are using those features and stuff? Because like in security, we always have this issue with permissions that it's very hard for people to configure permissions, right? We all know the widely open AWS buckets and so on that just happen by accident. So people might just, still keep running Node as plain Node without any reduction of permissions. But yeah, I'm curious. Do you know of people actually using those features?
So the permission model right now is experimental. We are still we're working on a lot of the important features, like file system has been has been out for a while. Like network, we're still working on it. We're still working with like we are doing. It's still in development, so it's growing. But we have received a lot of reports from security researcher on the permission model. So I assume that someone is using it, because if we see vulnerabilities with reports, then it means that someone is at least playing with it. And yeah, I mean, I don't see the permission model being enabled by default. I see it as something that helps by mitigating the risk. It doesn't solve the problem that the JavaScript ecosystem has. But yeah, also what I think it helps a lot is that you can configure it with a JSON file. So you can save the configuration of the permission that you enable, disable in a setting file. So the configuration is actually very, very easy.
Right, that makes sense. So yeah, the last thing here, I was actually surprised a bit. So I'm reading, feel free to join here as the very last comment here in this post. So these meetings are open to everyone, I would assume.
Yes. So this is the thing that it's incredible of Node.js, but nobody talks about is that Node.js is like true open source project when there is no company behind it. There is no one like no VC. It's fully open and everybody can join meetings. If you're interested in security, you can just join the security working group meetings. It's on the calendar. It's all in the open. The meetings are recorded and live streamed on YouTube. So if you go on the Node.js YouTube channel, you can see all the meetings and keep up. So this is one of the main reasons why I work with Node.js, because it's really an open source project, fully open governance. Yeah. So if you want to know more about this, you can just join the meeting and the discussion on the GitHub and everything else.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I see there's also a link to the meeting. So I assume that's where people can read up the notes and maybe also find the link to the recording.
Yes, exactly. We post an issue right now. There was just yesterday. So yeah, this is an example. There is the meeting. There is the document, and you can read the notes. So yeah, everything you can keep track of it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, very nice. I think this is not on all open source, also on popular open source projects where you can join the meetings. Very, very nice. Sometimes I think, how does it make sense to look in the code structure of Node itself, or is it so big that we cannot find any time of entry? Because when I check it out, how do I find there anything?
So the Node.js code base is big, and it's 15 years old project. So the JavaScript has changed a lot in 15 years. There is a lot of I like to think of it as a geologist would look at a rock with sediments, layers on top of each other, and you can notice where the latest features use very modern JavaScript, while the older one use older kind of older code style of JavaScript, older features. But overall, the general structure of Node.js is quite simple. There are two main. We can look at it together. Go on Node.js node. So the main folders are source and lib. Source contains all the C++ code. Lib contains all the JavaScript code. So depending on what you're interested in, you can just go in lib, for example, and just find, like, if you want to work on file system, if you want to work on streams, utils, HTTP, streams, whatever, crypto. Depending on what you like and what you're interested in contributing to, you can find it, I think, quite easily. But the code itself, it's a bit tricky to get used. It takes some time. One thing that I really like of the Node.js project is that people are very welcoming towards new contributors. There are projects where, like, oh, we don't accept contributors, or if you do a mistake, they will tell you, oh no, you suck. They close the pull request. Well, on the Node.js project, it's fine. We accept everyone's contribution. Even if you're a beginner, we want you to successfully land your PR. We want you to get started, to become maybe you can become a triager, you can become a collaborator. So we're very welcoming, and we do a lot of workshops when we try to help people to make their first contribution. Maybe I can show you today some coding, like something very simple that I have to do it anyways, so we can do it together maybe.
Yes, it would be super cool, because I'm totally interested in everything what coding is. Yes.
No.
Okay.
I'm actually recognizing a bunch of things here, right? Like fs.js, for example. So now I would understand that when I fire up Node and I type require fs, that I'm indeed just importing this very file here, right?
Yes.
So that would be the entry point, and then there would be bindings to the C++ code somewhere.
Exactly, yes. If you go at it, I can show you very briefly. So we can just, like, binding. Yeah, that's it. Internal binding. This is the binding to the C++ code. And everything else is just JavaScript code.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
So let me share my VS Code folder. Just 1 second. I need to share the entire screen. Okay. Okay. So can you all see VS Code?
Yes, I was muted. Everything fine, yes?
Okay. So we are on the Node.js project. I'll show you. So yeah, we have we just forked the project. So I keep on origin my my fork, and on original we keep the the actual Node.js project, so you can just fork it and download it. Let's pull the latest. So today we will do some deprecation. I will show you. I will show you what I'm talking about. So we have inside lib, inside util, we have util. Yep, this one. No, not this one. Yeah, it's a bit tricky to navigate. We have a lot of utils file. Nope, this one. Maybe this one.
Perfect name for everything, yes.
Yeah, everything is a util function. Let me check. Okay, and okay, it's this one. So I will show you right here. So we have deprecated a lot of these functions of the util module. For example, we have util is an array, and what it does is check if the thing that you pass is an array. We do have check if it's a boolean, if it's buffer or whatever. So this is all, as you can see, it's something like, why would you need a util function to check if something is null? You can just do it by yourself, you know? So those are currently runtime deprecated, which means that whenever you try to use them, you will have a warning, and we will now remove them completely. So we now trim some of the useless code, the useless stuff that we have, and this helps a lot to like removing old APIs is always very helpful towards the project, in my opinion, because it's dead code anyways. So we check out on a new branch. Utils. Okay, and then we can start. So we will keep this open, and then we have deprecations MD. This is the document that describes all the deprecated features. We will go to, we will also have to remove those one, but we will do it in another PR. Right now, we will remove all of this util. So let's start from the first one, which should be util dot. Let's see. We do it from here. We do extend. We do util dot extend, and we will deprecate it. Yeah, so we can just remove it from the documentation, the util md, and we have removed it. Then we remove it. We go to the where this is used, and we go to end of life. Should be written like this. Yes, end of life. We go to end of life. It has been removed. Okay. And then we need to update documentation. Now we go here and we do replace me, because this will be replaced in the next release. And here we put a random number that we will update it later. And then we do end of life deprecation. And now we can just delete the code. Okay. We do not expose it anymore. And we go to extend, and we delete this function. Okay. And now what we do is we run the test. We first make, we do configure --ninja. We do make test. Okay, now it will run the test, and it will take a while, so we have some time to chat.
Right, so we can see it's like more than 4,000 files, so might take a minute or something.
Yep.
Interesting. And so you are actually showing how people can work with the code base right away, right? So they just clone the repository, they say configure, and then they can already build it.
Yeah, you can. We use you use Ninja. That helps to speed up a lot the compilation, and then when you do the make, you can make like number of cores that you have available on your machine, and you run it, and it should speed up a lot of the compilation. I haven't compiled it in a while, so it's going to take a while. But once you compile it, we use Ccache. So it basically caches all the layers that are not changed. So when I recompile, it takes 20-30 seconds.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, this is going to take a while, but so yeah, this is something very easy that everybody can do. You see, there is nothing crazy. Obviously, you need to know that these APIs have to be removed. But yeah, I mean, we can, like, there is nothing too fancy. If you want to get started with the project, you can just go on GitHub and find a good first issue, because Node is big as a project. It's so huge, so you cannot learn everything. You cannot do everything. Whatever you're interested in, like I personally like the HTTP module. I like to do tooling. So these are the security. So those are the area where I work. There are other areas that I've never seen, like for example, timers. I never worked with timers. I never worked with DNS. Never worked on, I don't know, the quick HTTP3 layer, C++ layer, permission model. So a lot of stuff that I don't know about the project because it's too big to know everything.
Right. So people will obviously find something. Now, I assume, like, when they make a change and they want to file a pull request, do they just sign off their commit and make a pull request, or do you need to, I don't know, fill out a form or something?
No, just sign, just verify, sign your commit, and you're good to go.
Awesome. Thank you.
Very easy. Yeah. Yeah, this is going to take a while.
Right. And you actually just highlighted the permission directory. So, as you were just saying, it's in part still in development. So people might actually want to look at that right now if they are interested in extending it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the code is not too much. Like those are the code to basically check if you have permission to spawn a worker, permission to use inspector, permission to use file system, permission to use child process. So everything is this is a new feature. So the code is not old. Is actually very kind of new and very easy to approach.
Right. And so from a first glance at this here, where it says once denied, it's always denied. So I assume the permission model is that you can only drop permissions. You cannot just gain them back, right?
No. Once it's dropped, the process starts with the permissions without permissions to do all this stuff, and they cannot be re-enabled in any way.
Yeah, that is a very sensible and common model, right?
Yes. We had in the past we had one of the biggest limitation that was uh, um, no, sorry, Symlink. That was a big problem for the permission model on the file system because there is the problem that okay, you check if something is a symlink or not, but the time of check is different from time to use, so it led a lot of vulnerabilities. But from this release, we also fixed a bunch of this problem, and now we handle the symlinks correctly.
Right, and yeah, obviously we're now looking at C++ code here.
Yes.
That's actually quite nice because it, the overall structure is sort of very familiar to people who are used to JavaScript, right? So it's syntactically sort of related. That's very
Yes,
nice.
yes. No, I mean, even if I'm not a C++ developer myself, I had the chance to contribute to some C++ features, and it was quite like it was not too hard. I think it gets much harder on something like Quick when you have a lot of low level stuff working with network with UDP packets. This is much harder. C++. Permission model is very easy, and everyone is welcome to help with.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. It's actually very good that security features are kept very simple, right? So you always want to have them simple so that, people can always understand them. Yeah.
Yes, and so I mentioned before about the policy. We have a policy mechanism to enforce that the code has not been tampered, and this is an experimental feature, and we are removing it because we realized it was too complex to keep up with, and there were too many edge cases, and the code was like it was too hard to maintain, so we decided to remove it at all. So we prefer to land something that is battle tested, that is maintainable, than something that has edge cases and it could lead to some problems in the future.
Right. Oh, yeah. While looking at your screen, I actually recognize a few things here. So I've heard of
I have a
Upswell.
little question, by the way.
Great, go ahead.
So about the contribution workflow, sometimes I also think when you have a big project like this, there are hundreds of pull requests, thousands of issues, much comments, and all this handling. So when I make a pull request on a little deprecation thing, what do you think? When is there something responses and there are much more important things than you make this line away. So how it is recognized that I have done anything.
So like obviously like the contribution process is very straightforward. You open the PR, you receive reviews, and if you are a first-time contributor and like the work you're doing is valuable, like it's 100% sure that someone would help you to land your pull request. And once that is done, your pull request is it gets like it gets a samver, so someone decide if your change is a patch, your change is a minor, your patch is a samver major change, and therefore the releaser chooses to add your commit to the release, the next release, and then it will end up in the changelog. And once the Node.js release is done, in the changelog you will see your name, and I think it's something very, very like it makes me very happy to see my name in the Node.js releases. because contributing to a large project, it has a quite big impact.
Okay, so sorry, Daniel, you had a question and I dropped.
No, I was just looking at the output we're currently seeing here. I myself, I'm not a C++ developer, but I've been tracking things a bit here and there, and so I recognized this thing here called deflate from zlib. I know upsell, right? So that is like a collection of utilities, like a large library, similar to Boost. If people are familiar with that, I think maybe not exactly the same, but also a bunch of utilities. And well, you also see the linter warnings here, right? So where it says there is a comparison of different kinds of numbers, like unsigned, unsigned integers in this case. Things people don't know in the JavaScript world, we just have number, right? But
Yeah.
In other places it actually makes a significant difference sometimes. Yeah.
So in terms of tooling, we have a lot of stuff on Node. So we do, this is mostly done in the CI, but we do have like linting on JavaScript and C++. We have undefined behavior sanitizer, so we make sure that the C++ code that you write doesn't end up in undefined behaviors. We have ASAN, which stands for Application Sanitizer. I don't remember the acronym.
It should be address sanitizer, I think.
Yeah, address sanitizer. That's right. We do have a lot of. We have static analysis. We do have dynamic analysis. Valgrind. We have lots of stuff to make sure that the code is the best quality. We have custom linting rules. So for example, when you create an object in JavaScript, it always makes sure that you set the prototype to null. Like there is a lot of tooling going on here. And I think even if you are not a developer yourself, but you are interested in tooling, there is a lot of stuff to do. Even if you are interested in more on the like system building capabilities of Node, there is so much stuff to do. We have some scripts in Python. We have a lot of, for example, tools in Bash, installers. We have like we need to serve Windows installation, Windows tooling. So much stuff. It's crazy. Like we have Python, linting, license builders, stuff related to specific platforms. So yeah, this should not be here. Yeah.
Right. There is one thing that I actually found quite interesting. There was a directory called Android patches. So apparently there is also a port of Node.js to Android, which surprised me a
man.
bit. So I also develop mobile applications, with the React Native tooling, and then we would actually use, slightly different interpreters, right? So could you tell us a bit about like what is it used for in Android?
Yeah. So myself, I'm not a mobile expert. I've never actually had a chance to play with it. But let me tell you something. Node.js builds for so many platforms, so many architectures, is crazy. We support SmartOS, so you can use Node.js on your smartwatch. Like if you're not familiar, SmartOS is based on Solaris as platform. We build for all sorts of power PCs like IBM, like Node.js builds everywhere. We we support probably too many architectures and platforms, and it's crazy.
No, that is really cool. And I think you even just more or less recently also gained support for the RISC-V architecture, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. I mean, we have different layers of support, so we don't support everything equally. There are some things that we, for example, we are interested in compatibility, but if it breaks, we're not like nobody is going to actively patch and make sure it works. One simple reason is that we need machines to test the build. So, like Node.js being an open source project relies on companies giving their machines, gifting to the project machines, allowing them to use. And we need bare metal. We cannot run in a virtualized environment. So we actually need someone to host a machine for us. And if we have contributors and we have machines, then we can support literally everything. So yeah, that's how it works for platform support.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And it also shows that yeah, you actually need to have the resources, right? So if we imagine you have, I don't know, a few pull requests running, and they're kicking off jobs on some machines that some company is sponsoring, it should also be quick, right? So currently we're still watching this process here. It's now sort of half built.
Yeah.
That does take a while. Yeah.
Yeah, usually first time that you build it, it's gonna take a while. Also, my laptop is not connected to the power supply, so it's it's taking longer than usual. And I mean, it's not in the best condition, so normally it doesn't take this long. But first time, yes, especially on lower tier laptops. But once you get used to it, it becomes easier. Also because there are you don't need to if you change JavaScript code, you don't need to make a build every time. It will read the JavaScript code from the file system, so you can just change it without having to compile every change you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't need to wait for the tests. Maybe you can show one of your last contributions or commits where you make
Yes.
something like this deprecation.
Yeah.
What is maybe an inspiration for us to say something similar like this commit you can do to make your first contribution. It would be spectacular if my name is in the Node core. I would be proud and awake for a week. Yes,
yeah, we can definitely do that. I mean, let's see. Something quite easy is the let's see something interesting I've done a Node. Not core utils. Let's see. Just have a lot of stuff. Okay, so I mean, yeah, this one something very trivial. We have GitHub Actions running that update the dependencies. So you can start a GitHub action from here. We have tools and dependencies update, and you can update here. You can run the tool to update one of the Node.js dependencies, right? And in this PR, it simply broke, and I fixed it. So like something very easy. Like there is work from everyone. If you are like JavaScript developer, C++ developer, interested in building, interested in network, like everything. Just you need to find the right working group, which you can join, you can attend for free, and get started with. So, like you do a trivial change like this, you just fix a path that broke the GitHub action. You create a pull request. You will receive review. And once the review is done, you add this label, commit queue, and it gets merged. and it becomes a commit. And yeah, this commit has not been released yet, but maybe if we go to something something that I did, let's see. Oh, for example, this is a new feature I added. You create you do the change, you open the pull request, you do the documentation, you write the test, and then you just receive reviews. You run the CI, you receive more reviews, blah blah blah, more reviews. You run the CI, make sure the CI is green, and then you hit the commit queue, and boom, it gets landed, and then it gets added to the release, which is in this case Node 22 that I did with my ex-colleague Rafael. We did it together, and it goes. Let's see. Yeah, these are all commits that I've done in this release. A lot of deprecations. Here. More deprecations. As you can see, then you will find your commit in the release.
I also think there's a lot of inspiration in this overview. Yes.
Yeah, and like then you will go on the Node.js website. You go into blog releases, and then you should find the changelog here, and boom, your name is on the Node.js website, and you will be in a release. Very easy and nothing too crazy. Node.js is quite open to contribution. Like as I said, you don't need to sign a certificate. You don't need to
and have this pre-commit stuff and how you make your commit messages. And sometimes I also think there are more form stuff like than the doing on fixing a pass.
Yeah, I mean we do have linting on commit messages, but like if your commit is not in line with the linter, it will just throw an error and you will amend it and everything is fine.
Yeah, and then you have this how it actually works, how you would think it would work, and then you have so many steps where you say, I just so fix a typo in README file, yes, and then you have this full of documentation stuff on this commit messages.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, I mean,
it sounds super easy because I say, hey, I make here fixing a typo or making something more clear. I see always the start of open source in improvements on documentation or making things on documentation clearer for anybody. This is maybe also low-hanging fruits, and when you fix there is sense to make it more to make it better, then you don't have to make this full.
We do have a lot of pull requests on documentation. It's the easiest thing to get started. Like if you do a pull request on documentation, you get started with the tooling, you get used to it. Like you don't have to go to code directly, you fix a typo. Like you learn how the tooling works, how to install, and it's very easy. And then you can get started with like stuff that's more, that's harder. And yeah, but doing something on documentation, it's very, very easy. Yeah.
Real heroes do documentation.
Yeah, we do have a lot of documentation stuff. Like just one file changed. Okay, this is a big one. Like you create your documentation change, you make sure that your first commit is fine, and then you will receive review, and that's it. You don't have to do anything crazy. But yeah, that's. And if you want to get in touch with Node.js, you can go on the YouTube channel of Node. You can you can have on the website. You have a learning section when you can read all the documentation. There is a lot of stuff that explains you how to do things. So very, very, very easy to get started, and a lot of material on it.
Okay, so I think, yeah, we are running out of time box. how you can say, I don't know how far your tests are.
Sorry, how far?
How far the tests are, but this is not the thing. So you contribute our thing today. So Daniel, how was the session for you? What did you learn, and what is your motivation to do something on the project? Do you have now motivation to do something?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you very much to both of you. So for Marco to give us all that insight, and also to you, Roland, for the invite. I really appreciate that. So I hope I could ask some interesting questions, and I found it very nice to, get a bit of an overview of the project, look at the latest release now, and also the small chat on the SBOM thing. I think that is also a very interesting thing. So I know that there's I don't know. It's currently in like in the state where a bunch of people started looking at it, and it's not yet clear where it takes us, but it's always good for each and every project to provide it, as you were saying. Node being a very big project, also depending on other stuff that maybe does not provide SBOMs already, right? So yeah, there is still a bit more to come in that regard. I found that very, very interesting. The quick look into a bit of code was also quite interesting. And I've actually now learned how easy it is to, make some small changes, just like deprecations, for example. So it is actually a very, very tough topic sometimes, right? Because we're now talking about contracts and interfaces at that point. So because you have a mechanism established for doing that sort of stuff, it actually makes it very easy for people to handle, right? So they know over time things get deprecated. When you run something that is calling a function that is already deprecated, you would get a warning, and so you can easily learn and adjust over time, so you don't have this weird cut like you were saying with Python between version 2 and 3.
Yeah.
There are so many people who at some point upgraded their operating system. Now they got Python 3, and things just stopped working, like in very many places. So yeah, I think this is a very graceful way of just keeping things up to date, but still dropping old craft that is no longer needed. So yeah, it gives a very good window for people to do maintenance on their projects. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
thank you very much.
also thanks a lot for you, because I think this is so big, and that we go so deep today to speak about release notes and to see what we can do and have this nice practical overview. I never think that we come so far in just one session, and yeah, we can go forward, and I think I can contribute maybe one deprecation, and then you can contribute one deprecation. We can go forward with the stuff. So Marco, thanks a lot for this motivation session for contributing open source, and that there is an entry to just simple do things for Node, what is maybe one of the most known projects from the world. Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's very easy. Like just go on GitHub. You can just reach out to me, and you can just go on the Slack channel of the Node.js project and get in touch with collaborators. Also you can join on the GitHub on the discussion section. Yeah, I mean doing a deprecation. We can do that together. Like we can definitely make you do a contribution and show the process in detail. Yeah, it would be great.
Okay, so far, yeah, then we say thank you also for the audience. When you have more questions, just feel free to drop them in the comments. We will bring them to Marco or ask Marco directly. Like the video, give us feedback, what we can ask on the next time and so on. And then we say, okay, bye-bye to everybody. And follow the channel. Yes.